Welcome, folks. I am Jon Najarian, and this is 3 at 3. 3 at 3, I present unusual option activity. I do a little recap of some of the trades, and we let you guys know all the various properties that we've got out there, so you can decide if any of what we've got you'd like to subscribe to, you'd like to have a coach or a mentor, do some distance learning. We have all that rolled into 3 at 3. So let's get started, shall we? The disclaimer that the lawyers make me read is that this is for educational and informational purposes only, that we are not your investment advisor, and that every investment involves some degree of risk. As far as intellectual property rights, we do have registered marks, trademarks, patents, and copyrights on almost everything you're about to see. So please, if you would like to use it, ask us first. And now let's take a little look at SeaWorld. Why? Well, because Sea's working out nicely already. SEAS, a 5% move there. And you see that nice jump from the opening all the way through the session, just shy of $55 right now. And that's one that we brought to you yesterday. So we thought you might like to just kind of take a look at yesterday's 3 at 3 and see whether or not, if you did decide to follow us, how your trade might have done, even if you're paper trading, folks. One of the best ways to learn is, of course, to paper trade. And that would be when I describe a trade, you write down what you would do. Maybe you'd buy the stock. Maybe you'd buy the stock and sell a call. Maybe you'd buy the calls that I'm talking about. Maybe you'd buy a call spread. Maybe you'd sell a put. Maybe you'd sell a put spread. There are so many different ways to play. And I think once you get comfortable with how these option trades work, then you'll be more confident when you invest. You'll hopefully use that discipline that we talk about, because I can't pull the trigger for you. You have to decide how to cut your losses and or take your profits. SeaWorld, well, that's a taken profit situation. Let's also talk briefly about Expedia, because I described this one yesterday with the stock just shy of 169. We were talking about the unusual option activity at the May 170 call strike. And the great information that's embedded in every options trade, folks, is as follows. One, they give you a time frame, May. So here we are. We've just passed the halfway, or April expiration, regular April expiration. There's of course an expiration almost every week, depending on which products we're talking about, which listings. And in the case of Expedia, they do have an awful lot of options and strike prices. So you get to know the expiration that they're picking, May. So they want 1 month into the future. So they have pretty time critical information. Two, the strike price, 170, just above where the stock was trading. Now let's take a look at how that worked out. Well, pretty well, I'd say, because there's another $5 rally, about a 3% gain for the stock. So if you're somebody who would have invested, say, 1,000 share position, that would be $170,000 or $169,000 you invested yesterday to perhaps take out $176,000 roughly today. It's a very nice trade, but you tied up an awful lot of money to make it. On the other hand, our option trade more than doubled. So we have far more than 100%. We're not dealing in 3% numbers here, folks. But as many of you know, people love to heckle me about, well, Doc, you can't time the market. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, especially individual stocks when you've got something unusual. Because keep in mind, folks, many people like to use technical analysis, and I will be on with AJ Monty talking about his technical analysis. He's one of the best there is. Talking with AJ about setups and timing. And a lot of folks pushed back at me, even though we got 370,000 views of our video. They pushed back and said, Doc, you can't time the market. And in some cases, they weren't even nice enough to say Doc. They used other words or descriptives. But nonetheless, you can time the market. You won't be right all the time, but you could flip a coin and go 50-50, or you could let the odds move into your favor before you place your bet. That's what we do. We follow unusual option activity, and that way we believe that the timing that we're following is someone else's very thoughtful investment prior to a big move in the stock. Certainly played out in Expedia, certainly played out in Peloton, and of course, SeaWorld. Those are just a couple of the most recents. I'd also encourage you to tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for our daily Crypto Bite program. A couple years ago, we made a commitment, significant commitment to cryptocurrencies. And we hired a team that had been miners in college. They mined a whole bunch of coins, not just Bitcoin, but other proof of work coins. And they wrote the curriculum for us. They now monitor that crypto room, which you can join for just $1 a month. You just go to marketrebellion.com/try crypto, and you could learn all about it. It is an educational process, learning crypto, but it's also extremely rewarding. And we use the same sort of discipline that we use over on the equity side of the world. So $1 a month, marketrebellion.com/try crypto to try it out. There's my brother Pete. He had a new buy today, Toro, lawnmowers and so forth. Yeah, Toro does a lot of that. Tractors of other sorts as well. Farmer Jim, which is Jim Lebenthal. The judge was giving Pete a hard time for picking tractors when Farmer Jim is known for tractors. But nonetheless, Pete had that new trade today. And that was the lineup on the halftime report. The judge, of course, Scott Wapner. We call him the judge because of Judge Wapner. At least I think a lot of you know that. Then we've got Jenny, Joe, Pete. It was a great lineup today, and we certainly appreciate your guys' support whenever Pete or I are on the halftime report. Now let's get started with the first of today's 3 at 3, which is Applied Materials, AMAT. Bullish call buying, stocks 133.50. They're buying 6,400 of the April 138 calls. So that is about $5 higher than where the stock is. You guys know, regular viewers, that I like buying something at the money and selling out of the money. Why do I do that? I do that because it moves the odds into our favor. It also means that I will not hit the home runs on the one unless the stock, unless I don't haven't made that sale of the upside call yet. It means that I'm truncating my profit at the call strike that I sell. So if I'm long the 134s and short the 138s instead of long those 138s, that means my maximum profit is achieved if I hit that short strike 138. But I could turn a $1.50 investment into $4, the difference between 134 and 138. So that's why I like to do it that way. I've moved the odds into my favor. Yeah, I could be a pig, but pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. I'd rather hit for average, be a single and doubles hitter. I think it moves up my average pretty significantly. And there is Applied Materials, as you saw here, was 133.53 this morning. Now it's 134.18, call it 60 cents or so higher than when we spoke of it. And We are still in the trade, of course. It hasn't moved enough for us to get out, but it's nice when they move to the direction that you see right away. And this one certainly has. We're just pointing out here that Market Rebellion has its own YouTube channel. The nice folks over at YouTube have given us that channel, and a lot of you guys have subscribed. You just go to YouTube and type in Market Rebellion, and you get all of our videos. So for instance, tonight, I'm going to be on with AJ Monty, and we're going to be breaking down how we time the market, best opportunities, and so forth. Tens of thousands of you have seen those videos. Now, tonight's is live and it's free. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern time, right at the market close. And if you don't get in, if you're busy, or if you didn't bother to sign up, or you're at work and you can't watch live, well, it'll go up on the YouTube channel. So by subscribing to YouTube, you will be one of the people who gets reminded. If you click that little bell right next to the subscribe button, you'll get reminded every time there's new content. And we put up a lot of content on that site. So check it out, Market Rebellion on the YouTube channel. Second trade of our 3 at 3 is LVS, Las Vegas Sands. So Sheldon Adelson may have passed, but his stock lives on, and he has left a mark on Vegas as well, being one of the visionaries with the Venetian and so forth. They have really done a fabulous job for the high-end gamer and so forth. Well, Las Vegas Sands, bullish call buying, 59.73 is where the stock was. The embedded information was June, so 2 months into the future, 65 strike, $5 out of the money, and 17,900. I'm sure it's well over 20,000 now, but 17,900 of these calls changed hands. That is let's call it 1.8 million shares of stock equivalent, because whoever owns 17,980 calls has the right to turn those calls into stock. And that's why I'm moving those decimals 2 places over, because 17,980 calls is 1.798 million shares of stock equivalent. That's a lot of stock to control. That's a big trade. Look at it, nearly $2 they paid for the options, 17,000 times, call it a $3+ million trade. Those are the folks I want to follow. So that's why when we're filtering for unusual option activity, we're chasing that kind of trader right there. Thank you. And here is the stock moving to 60.37. So it's up about 60 cents also from when we spoke of this one on our blog this morning, which you, of course, can join that blog if it's appropriate for you. And that movement out of this stock, $46 billion market cap, like it. I'm in the at the monies, short those out of the money calls. All right, let's talk about Market Rebellion. And by the way, the UOA, which is unusual option activity. If you type in Market Rebellion UOA, you will get a description of what unusual option activity is and how much it is to get 20, 30 trades a day from us. Or if that's too many and you just want 1 trade a day, we have that. Just want 1 trade a week, we have that. So we've got distance learning, we've got coaches, we have mentors, we have so much in the way of making you a more successful trader. And a lot of it, of course, is free after the fact. But if you want it live, you can subscribe to any of our offerings. Now let's get the third of our 3 at 3. This one is UAVS. A friend of mine, Nate, over at Investors Underground, loves this stock. I know because he pinged me about Peloton, which is a stock that we have for unusual option activity a little over a week ago, and it fell through 120 all the way down to $100 a share when everybody was saying, hey, Doc, why isn't this thing working out? Well, you had to give it a few days, and then it did. Anyway, UAVS, bullish call buying, 557. They bought nearly 6,000 of the May 750 calls. There it is, falling out of bed, falling from 16 all the way down to here. And it seems at this level, it's bringing in some buying interest. So I want to follow those buyers. I want to put a little money on the table, betting that it goes higher. 574 it was here. And as you saw, 557 when we first started talking about it. I like it. I'm in this trade. And there's my friend Nate, who is also in the trade. And he said, here's that $6 tester. Well, Nate, as I said, good friend. He has a charity that I speak at every year since I joined, which is Traders for a Cause. Nate is a class act. He works with a lot of folks for that conference that are also class acts. They're giving back, something that we all think is very important. And there he was talking about one of the reasons why the stock was making that move. Federal Aviation Administration says new rules take effect today, allowing small drones to fly over people and at night in the United States. That's what they make, UAVS. So anyway, Nate's charity, again, the one that we participate in with him, is Traders for a Cause. Check it out. Hopefully you'll be able to join us in Las Vegas, because that's where we party, celebrating the generosity of the traders, as well as all the investors that show up at that event and give money to breast cancer research. They've in the past given it to, ALS research, and a host of others. It's just a fabulous charity. All the money is given away because a benefactor pays for all of the costs associated with putting on that event. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks, Nate. Questions? Yeah, you guys have questions. We have answers. Your questions could be addressed to me on Twitter at Jon Najarian. Let's get into it. All right, Patrick Cannon, and his handle is Cannonballs17. All right, Cannonballs. 3 at 3 question. Huge volume in Netflix puts, $22,000 at the 500 strike. I'm not trying to be a smart guy, but 22,000 contracts, not $22,000. A lot of dollars. And I took a picture from the heat seeker of exactly what we were seeing, which was on the opening today with the stock at 503. As you see there, 831. Those puts were trading for $6.30. These are this week expiration, $6.30. When I took that screenshot this morning, they were down to $1.44 as the stock rose to $514 a share. So Patrick is right. Mr. Cannonballs17 is right. A lot of contracts, but the dollar amount far, far exceeds 22,000. This is 22,000. It was 22,000 contracts, not dollars. Tons of millions of dollars, and they've made millions of dollars selling those puts, selling fear, and seeing those puts shrink in value and buying them back at lower prices. So that's what we saw too in Netflix, Patrick. Jaws, which his handle is at JawsMJ. Doc J, a little mining today. HL calls got some flow. Yep, they did indeed. And they're on our blog. We had them for unusual option activity. Jaws, your eyes are as sharp as ever. That is a big trade. A lot of those calls, Helka Mining, I think is HL. A lot of those accumulated today. And I need to call my friend Fleckenstein to let him know that they're finally stepping back into the miners and buying. Thank you, Jaws. Elizabeth Barnum, and her handle is at Lizabeth, Barham, Elizabeth Barham. All right. She asks, at what point do you like to roll up a good call? 75%, 100%, 100%? Thank you. Well, let's see, Elizabeth. I like to roll up a call that's working, in particular, if I get another reading on that stock. So I don't stay married to the stock, with the very few exceptions. I don't plan on being in a lot of the stocks that I trade options on for more than the time frame of the expiration that the unusual activity showed up in. Now, there, of course, are exceptions. Apple, for instance. I hope I own Apple for a very long time. I've owned it for a long time, and it's done me right. However, and as Jim Cramer says, you want to own it, not trade it. But at what point do I roll up? Well, I roll them up if, for instance, I have a reading that's positive, like in LVS, and I own the 60s, for instance, short 65s, it moves up to 64, and now they're buying the 70s, I would roll up. I would sell out of my spread, buy the 65, sell the 70s, for instance, Lizbeth. But I don't do it based on 75%, 100% profit. I do it based on what's my catalyst. If there's that catalyst of another buy that's happening, that's when I like to do it. So thank you very much for asking, Lizbeth. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, or just Whiskey Tango, what the? At the handle of Black Goose 10, that's BLACK, GOOSE, the number 10. What percent of your option trades are hedged? And what percent of your stock trades are hedged? Probably 90% of each. I rarely have an unprotected stock trade. If I do, it's because they don't have options. And the only way I could get into the trade was with stock. So for instance, many of you have asked about ABML. I bought more ABML at $1 when it got down there this week because I think they're going after the short sellers now. And that one does not have options. So I have to buy stock like a commoner because I would much rather own a call spread if I could and get leverage and defined risk. That's why I like options so much, Whiskey Tango. So what percentage? Probably in the 90% range, sir. Thank you for asking. And Bryce, whose handle is BRYYCEB, and he has a question about Ford. Ford seems to be cooling off along with GM. Still a buy? Probably still a buy. They've got a lot of great new things like that new Bronco. I love the commercial about the goats and goat mode, but they have not had enough chips. This has been a problem across the industry. Everybody from Tesla to NIO to GM to Mercedes-Benz have all had problems with the chip supply. And that's why, at least to a large extent, I think why, even though rates are very low, which make car buying more attractive, I think the fact that people can't get a lot of cars because the chip shortage is really what's been holding them back. So thank you, Bryce. And today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 35 minutes from right now, I'll be on with AJ Monty. Make sure you tune into that. Only way you can join us live for free is to go to marketrebellion.com and register. Go to marketrebellion.com, register, and you will be in today. If you don't go and register now, you can watch it tomorrow on YouTube when we put it up, because the people who sign up for the live get the preferential treatment. And those of you who can't, for one reason or another, watch it live, we still want you to get the good, solid information, but we don't put it up till tomorrow. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great day, folks. And bang, let's go get some.